Yeah.
right? So, I'm not part of this
But
administration.
what did you think of that? Nung sabi ng Pangulo, mahiya naman kayo at nagpalakpakan yung mga katabi mo at nagtayo ang iba.
Well, yun na nga di ba? Maraming plastic sa amin
Yan nga ho ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon mga ka-reaction update. PHR dito nga po mismong si Congressman Albee. Mismong si Congressman Albee Benitez mga ka-update nagsasabing maraming plastic sa amin, maraming plastic sa kanila. Di ba? Yan po ang matinding ngayon mga ka-update. Kasi ito na panawagan na ito kay Marcos Jr. mga ka-update. Na lahat ho ng pampaplastic ho nila sa administrasyon sa ating bayan, nandyan na ho lahat. Diba? Makikita po natin lahat ng kabalbalan ngayon lumalabas na. Lahat ho ng kabalbalan sa ating bayan, yung mga pagnanakaw ho nila, lumalabas na konti-konti. Hindi man po natin mabigla agad-agad, pero makikita natin may proseso ho yan. Darating at darating talaga ang araw na lalantad at lalantad ang katotohanan. Hindi habang buhay puro kasakiman, kasamaan lang ang namumuno. Di ba? Sa ilang taong pamumuno ni Marcos mga ka-update, tanong ko lang, diretsahan lang kung tayo, ano na po ba yung maganda niyang nagawa sa ating bayan? Tanong lang ka-update. Meron na po ba siyang nagawang maganda sa ating bayan? Diba? Wala ho. Wala ho tayong masagot kasi wala ho tayong mapatunayan. Kaya mga ka-update, pakinggan ho natin ito naging interview kay Albee Benitez na patungkol nga na maraming plastic. Maraming walang hiya sa administrasyon ngayon ni Marcos, lalong-lalo na dyan sa House of the Representatives. Kaya mga update, wala ng paligoy-ligoy, rekta na ho tayo.
Sa hearing natin, di ba? You can see how they nagagalit sila, they show this as if they were for the people, but people see that it's not the case, di ba? You have testimonies coming from DPWH, mga contractors, that ito na, parang ito yung open secret na alam na ng tao to In fact, buo na yung kwento The narrative as far as the people are concerned is already done. It's already parang finished, no? It's just a matter of the prosecution that everybody's been expecting. So dalawang hinahanap na ng taong bayan. It's not just to prosecute, but also to return some of those ill-gotten wealth.
Yeah. We'll get there. Pero what I meant to ask was this when the President said mahiya naman kayo, his critics pointed out na parang, bakit yung Pangulo biglang dumistansya at nagsabi, kayo mahiya? Bakit? Hindi ba siya kasama dapat doon? Kasi he is, sa kanya galing po yung NEP. And
mahiya naman kayo, bakit hindi siya kasali sa mahihiya? Tama naman po ang sinabi nito Ito nag-i-interview kay Albee Benitez. Mahiya naman kayo, sinabi niyang ganyan. Sino ba'y namumuno ngayon? Sino ba'y nakaluklok sa administrasyon ngayon? Di ba si Marcos Jr. din? Di ba mga ka-update? Siya rin naman po yung nakaluklok. Pinapatamaan niya po itong mga congressman, yung mga sangkot sa mga anomalyang nangyari ngayon. Ang malaking katanungan, sino po ba yung nakaluklok? Sino po ba yung nakaluklok? Kung sino yung nakaluklok, siya dapat yung sisisihin. Kasi mga ka-update, pati yung past administration, binabanatan ho nila. Kahit yung kay Pinoy, lahat o kay Estrada, kay Pangulong Duterte. Yan po yung katotohanan, binabanatan ho nila yung mga nakaraang administrasyon. Samantalang hindi niya mapuna-puna ang administrasyon nila ngayon. Diba? Tapos noong nagkarali noong September 21, mga kabig, last week sinabi niya kung normal lang daw siyang Pilipino, katulad natin, magrarally daw siya, sino ba yung pinapatanggal ng taong bayan? Sino ba yung sinisipa ng taong bayan? Di ba ikaw Marcos Jr.? Ikaw ho ang dahilan. Ikaw ang dahilan kung bakit galit na galit yung mga Pilipino. Dahil ikaw yung nakalukulok. Hindi mo ba naririnig Marcos resign? Ikaw yung dahilan kung bakit nagkakagulo yung Pilipinas sa ating bansa. Kasi ikaw yung namumuno. Di ba? Kaya nga ikaw naging presidente kasi yung mga Pilipino nagtiwala sa'yo na magiging maganda yung pamumuno, pero ano yung pinapakita mo? Kaplastikan. Totoo, yung sinabi ni Albee Benitez, ni Congressman Albee Benitez, na maraming plastic sa amin. Yan yung katotohanan, Marcos Jr.
I know it's Congress that put together or scrutinized the budget and then wrote it. I mean, finalized the budget. But in the end, he has a supermajority in Congress. So can he escape, for example, accountability as far as how you influence your people in the legislature?
Yeah. You know, when you're talking about, let's say you come from a corporation, right? You may be on top of everything, but you don't know all the details coming out. Diba? That's why you have mga finance department, you have all of these people underneath you supposedly doing what they're supposed to do. So the president is similar, diba? He may not have all the information of what is happening on the ground. And as you can see, diba, kahit na sa DPWH lang, Secretary Manny Bonoan saying na hindi namin alam eh. Diba? We don't have the network, the system to be able to double check that. Pero ang tanong niya is bakit niya ginawa? 'Di ba? Kung alam niya, kung part siya, kung talagang involved siya, why do it that way? Bakit siya mismo ang nagsabi during sa SONA where everybody was saying mahiya naman kayo? Bakit pinuntahan pa niya yung Bulacan to show a ghost project? Bakit pumunta siya sa Baguio? No, personally seeing all of these projects kung kasama, kasi it doesn't make sense, di ba? Kung involved ka, kasama ka, hindi mo gagawin yan eh. You would have done it another way.
I get you naman, sir. I think the question naman is not so much whether or not the president had his finger in the pie as well and was making money out of it, but more of whether he has accountability with regard to how he manages the people who are in his supermajority. Kasi in the end, it is a supermajority.
Yes, pero as you can also see, 'di ba? Sabi naman niya na walang sasantuhin, 'di ba? Whether kaibigan, kamag-anak, kalyado, 'di ba? The investigation will push through and then prosecute. And I have heard him also several times, 'di ba? For the whole system to be properly implemented, you have to use technology. And he has signed a law saying that we have to put this data, information, everything that's happening all the way down through a modern system that is easily verifiable.
You're proposing blockchains.
I propose a blockchain because that is the technology now that allows you not to tamper it.
I had to look it up kasi hindi ako pamilya sa blockchain.
Parang online ledger yan that everybody sees it.
For the benefit of the viewers who probably, like me, do not know blockchain, alam ko lang kasi kadena it's a digital ledger recording where transactions are as you have more participants, they each have a copy. So
that's right. It's harder to manipulate.
Kasi you'll have to manipulate everybody.
Katulad nito, 'di ba? Parang if you mention about this small committee, every time it comes up, this small committee of 4, and then you find out that the small committee of 4 gagawa pa ng smaller committee of 1 or 2. Right? So ito parang nangyayari is napapabayaan ang desisyon kung anong budget o anong resources ang i-allocate sa mga project by these 2 people. And that's very dangerous.
It's opaque. It's very opaque.
Yeah, so kaya nga I propose this blockchain technology para hindi lang sila ang may alam kung anong ginawa nila.
And manipulation is not going to be easy because you have to manipulate everybody down the chain.
Well,
even if that's possible.
Well, ang nangyayari kasi sa atin ngayon is because after that, they say, ito na yung budget, parang people just took it for granted. Diba? Yan na yung pinagkasunduan ng lahat.
Okay. Sir, atas ako ng konti, kasi you were a congressman from 2010 to 2019.
Yes.
So you had 3 terms. You had 3 full terms before you took a break. I remember kasi it was a pork barrel scam of 2012 or 2013. We had this massive rally in the Luneta and everybody took part in it and everybody was so proud na we all railed against the pork barrel system and we changed the pork barrel system. It was rendered unconstitutional. So, wala ng pork barrel. But in the end, ng pork barrel na 70 million and 200 million for congressmen and senators, napalitan ng bilyon-bilyones na wala ng limit.
Well, ngayon, di ba?
with
You're
with,
talking
with allocations, yeah. I'm wondering how the transition day. Hindi ko lang alam kung if you saw it happening while you were there or if it was much later. Pero how did it happen that way na from the victory against the pork barrel, we ended up with from the tens and twenties and 200s of the millions of the pork barrel. Now we have trillions in allocations.
So ang nangyari noon was, I think the Supreme Court decided that there will be no post-intervention by legislators. Okay, so kasi dati nilalump sum nila yan. And then they started finding other ways, no? And as you've said, no, parang naging billion na because naka-intact na sa mga projects. And ang malalaking projects nasa DPWH, malalaking infrastructure project nasa kanila. So doon na sila nag-focus. I mean, I guess those who want to take advantage of the situation, kung paano nila gagatasan, so to speak, ang mga projects ng government. And if you look at the history, diba, I was not a congressman then, but during the previous administration, it was rock netting. Ito yung mga juicy projects na talagang...
Yung mga bakal na net.
Oo, yung bakal na nalalagay dun sa mga slope protection. Di ba? And these projects are actually high margins and malalaking amounts na linalagay sa kanila. Di ba? And then after rock netting, it became flood control. So, hindi natin alam kung ano baging next mutation itong systemic plunder of our resources. But again, as I've said, no, this can only be eliminated if we become transparent of all of the resources or appropriation that government will do.
Speaking of transparency, you mentioned the small committees, and of course we will also have to talk about the BICAM. The small committees, how far does that go? How far back does that go? Kasi when I was covering Congress in the 1990s, wala pang small committees noon. Parang dati pagkatapos mapasa ng second reading tapos third reading, parang ano lang ministerial na yung third reading pagdating sa BICAM, wala na halos reconciliation na lang ng conflicting versions. Now it's not reconciliation anymore of conflicting versions. Now you basically have rewriting of
well,
budget.
nangyari yan, I think, previously, my understanding in the previous administration, hindi naman ganun kasi kalaki ang ginagalaw. Right? So, the NEP still stays, parang nakikilala mo pa siya. Di ba? Kung sino yung NEP na yan. I think itong previous administration, this current administration, which was the 2025 budget, which I think the President also said that, was angry and vetoed some of the projects.
26 billion.
Kasi lumobo na yung yung amount na pinagpalit nila.
From 800 billion for DPWH, naging 1.1 trillion.
Hindi lang yan. Because if you look at it, yung mga ginagalaw lang, nasa mga before, previous administration, is about 200 to 250 billion.
Yeah.
Itong last 2025, almost 600 billion ang ginalaw. So as you can see, it is too far, it is too different from yung NEP na sinubmit.
But do we know when this system started? Itong, I don't know if you'd call it, you don't know if you'd even call it a system pero this practice started na yung BICAM has become its own monster, if you'd call it that.
Well, yes, but you have to understand kasi lahat ng mga public officials, lahat ng mga congressmen, mga senators, they have to build constituency.
Yeah.
And for a congressman to be able to claim performance, they have to say, ito yung nagawa ko. Ito yung nadala ko dito. Ito yung tinayo ko. And that's normal. I mean,
hindi naman bawal ang insertion actually, but insertions per se, they're not necessarily irregular. They're not necessarily illegal.
Yes. So ang nangyayari sa insertions kasi is after the NEP is submitted, may mga ibang items doon na binabawasan, tas nililipat kung saan nila gusto. Okay, so that's technically, when you say insertion, technically it is rearranging.
You're shifting things around.
Yeah, you're rearranging the national budget. And so it's you cannot blame congressman to lobby for more projects to go to your district, di ba? Ang talagang masamang nangyayari ngayon is hindi na linalabi para sa district eh. Naglalabi na lang sila para mas malaking komisyon na makuha nila. And I talked to Cong and then there was some people, some congressman that he knows about na yung distrito nila, okay, hindi naman nilalagay yung project na nilabi nila. Nilagay sa mga ibang lugar. So, yun ang parang questionable, di ba? Bakit mo hindi ilalagay sa distrito mo if you're after
Your constituency's welfare.
welfare constituency? Kung ilalagay mo sa iba yun, ibig sabihin,
May tongpats ka.
ganun lang ang habol mo.
Pero nga sir, but you know, I know you were just re-elected in 2025 after 6-year hiatus from Congress.
That's right.
I'm wondering lang kung kailan nagsimula itong may small committee and
Matagal na yan eh. No?
Matagal
Because matagal na yan. Kasi ang nangyayari ngayon, di ba, if you look at the 300 plus congressmen, okay, all of them will lobby. No?
yeah.
Oh, lagay dito, lagay dito, lagay dito. Sino na magde-decide nun? Di ba? Hindi naman parang toss coin yan. O, sige, ito na lang. Kung sino ang manalo sa raffle, yun natin ilalagay. So, ang nag-collate noon at eventually will decide is this small committee, which Congress actually authorizes.
Yes, sir. Pero sir, ideally, the small committee would be making insertions before the passage into third reading.
Which is
diba?
irregular. That's exactly what Cong and I have been asking. Bakit ipapasa na sa plenary, tapos
Meron pang
pwede pang galawin ng small committee.
Hindi na final reading yun.
Hindi dapat yun, di ba? Kasi parang sinabi ng plenary, should have the final say, the final approval. Pero ang sabi naman nila, yung plenary mismo nagsabi naman na bahala na si small committee gumawa. So that practice is what is being avoided ngayon. I think we are now looking at a open amendments, no? And then pag napas na sa second reading, sa plenary, yun na yun.
Ito, yung sabi ni Congresswoman Swansing, she wants the small committee scrapped. Would you agree with that? Number two, instead, form subcommittees to make amendments within the hearing, within the
Plenary hearings.
Within the plenary hearings. In other words, bago mag third and final reading.
Tama. So that is the proper process. And so babalik ngayon doon.
Parang somewhere along the way, we got lost.
Yan na nga. Kahit na 'di ba yung sa mga DPWH projects, dati may mga LGU acceptance yan. So, yan, tas nawawala. And I think, you know, it's about time din. Na ng mga tao sinabi na sobra na talaga. They've been, parang may impunity na. They don't care anymore. Alam mo yung mga ghost projects, napakadaling i-validate eh.
Yeah.
Di ba? And if you
Sisilip
look
ka
at
lang sa bintana kung nandiyan yung proyekto.
Oo, di ba? Tapos, merong sistema ang DPWH na geotagging. Di ba? You have to send a picture of the finished project. Pero hindi na rin ginagawa eh. So, talaga.
Actually, sir, what's amazing about it is impunity.
Impunity,
It's the sense of
exactly.
impunity. Parang, I can get away with it.
Parang wala nang takot. Kaya nga itong nangyayari nito, the people are now demanding accountability. And if we do not go all out in this, di ba? Mangyayari ulit ito. Di ba? It has to teach a lesson sa everyone that if you do this, ganito talaga mangyayari sa inyo. And dapat hindi lang yung mga contractor at DPWH, pati mga public officials that are accountable.
Okay. Before I shift gears into another topic, let me ask you, in a continuation of this, what do you think of the September 21 rally against corruption flood control projects? Do you think it was successful? And number two, what do you see of what happened in Menjola and in Ayala Boulevard, the violence that occurred there?
Yes. Yung September 21, I think it was very successful because it articulated the sentiments of the public. No? Nationwide, hindi lang I think sa Luneta, sa EDSA, there were rallies everywhere in Bacolod, nagkaroon din ng rally. And it just shows how frustrated people are. Right? And it's a clear sign that people are fed up. Diba? But gusto nila may mangyari na. Gusto nila may makulong, gusto nilang makabawi malang, at gusto nilang palitan itong systemic plunder of our resources. Yung sa Mindiola, I think is more
Any point of concern there with what's happening in Mindiola?
what Secretary John Vic was saying, these are people who actually have parang wants to destabilize government. Ano na yun? Iba na yung gusto nila. Remember that September 21 was supposed to be a peaceful rally, and it was supposed to show what people are feeling ngayon, di ba? It has nothing to do. In fact, some people are saying na hindi naman parang hingin na palitan ng gobyerno and all those things. It was just to show the sentiments of the people that galit na sila, di ba? So yung mga ibang group na yon, I think had different interests.
What do you think is going to happen?
There will be accountable persons to be filed in court. There will be cases filed in court. I'm almost sure that there will be cases filed for contractors, the DPWH officials, and a few legislators. So that has to happen.
Sabi ng Pangulo, mahiya naman kayo at nagpalakpakan yung mga katabi mo at nagtayo ang iba.
Yun na nga di ba? Maraming plastic sa amin
Muntik na kayo maging speaker.
Ano yan? It is a collegiate decision.
In 2012, we were also happy, we were also proud, and we were also optimistic. And then, pork barrel got scrapped. Tapos parang we ended up with another problem altogether na
No.
may hinahanap na bagong butas. How do we address that kind of problem na you plug a hole, another one comes up, and sometimes it's bigger than the previous one? What do we do about it? How do we go about it?
Yun na nga, di ba? Transparency is the key. Okay? Because once it's transparent, it's less room for corruption to happen. Kasi nakikita ng tao di ba? So, hindi basta-basta nila makukunan, hindi basta-basta nila makukupitan because people are now watching. And so, how do we now make it as transparent as possible? And as we discussed earlier, di ba? We should focus on using technology to be able to bring the transparency that we're looking for.
You talked about blockchain kanina. It's still a concept to me that's a bit nebulous, at least to me. How, for example, how do you use blockchain in something like this, something like the budget?
Okay, we go first with putting it in the digital platform. Diba? Remember, Cong Toby asked the committee on APRO, can I have a copy of the small committee report? Right? Because pinag-uusapan yan, dapat may report yan, inalagay sa archives. Ang sabi nila, wala daw. Okay, tingnan mo na lang, is the difference between NEP and GAB1. Yung ginalaw nila. So, yung pinasa sa Senate, yun na yun yung ano.
Yun ang result na lang.
Yun na yung small committee report. It takes what? There's 7,000 pages. How many books of budget report and allocation that you have to go through one by one. Talagang aabutin ka ng siyam-siyam. But ang tanong nga, why not a soft copy? Right? That is on the digital platform. Doon na lang makikita na natin. It's easy to extract, it's easy to find, it's easy to
you can manipulate,
identify.
Manipulate is the wrong word, pero you can, parang Excel file, you can...
you can see it already. Mas madali na. May search engine, you can now cluster itong mga project na to, diba? It's easier to audit and review. So, once it's there, tingnan na lang natin kung saan ang mga changes na nangyayari. From the NEP, or even from the department mismo. Galing department, papuntang NEP, papuntang GAB1, GAB2, and then GAA. Lahat yan can be put on a blockchain. So, nakikita natin yung galawan from day one. Bago nga lumabas sa NEP, pwede na nga natin lagyan ng parang code yun. Itong code, ito yung mga ganon. Kasi minsan nagkakaroon din ng double allocation. Yung Ghost Project dati, lalagyan ngayon, last year, lalagyan ngayon this year, Para hindi na makita, matatakpan na kasi. Di ba? And then people cannot see it because the system, we have AI now, the system does not allow it to flag those kind of projects. But then, we are already in this age and time, may mga AI na tayo that